In this chapter, we're going to be looking at performing I/O or input-output with Ruby, primarily working with files and doing some network programming. So we're going to start out on this first lesson looking at how to read data from a file. There's really two basic ways to do it. One is to write a generic program that reads anything, could read from the console or from a file or from any input device, and then specify a file. And the other way will be to write a program that explicitly opens a file to read. So let's look at the more generic way first. But before we can even do that, we need to create a file. I'm going to show you an old DOS trick for creating a file simply using something called copycon. You type copycon data.txt, or the name of your file, with an extension if you want it. And it's going to copy whatever we write on the console to our file. So we'll just do some simple text. Then we'll add a couple of numbers. Then when we're finished and ready to write the file, we just type a Control-Z, hit Enter, and now we have a file. There's a file. Now let's create a simple generic program to read data from that file. The program looks like this. That's about as simple as you can get. We're going to use the getS function to get data into a variable line. Then we're going to write line out to standard output and then loop while there's data to read. So let's exit and save. And then to make that work with a file, all we have to do is provide the file name on the command line like this. Then when we hit Enter, it reads a file. One of the nice things about Ruby is how easy it is to do simple file I/O. Now, if we prefer, we can actually open the file from within the program. Let's modify read file to do that. So we're going to go to the top of the program, add the following line. Then, because the lowercase file now is like a file handle, we need to specify what we're getting from, like so, and then we're finished. So let's save the file. Let's clear the screen. Oh, we left out an end, so let's fix that. When you explicitly open a file, you have to also explicitly close it. So let's indent our loop. Now let's save and run the program again. And there we go. This last modification of read file shows us how to open a file inside the program rather than from the command line and read the contents of a file. And that's all there is to it. As I said before, there's really nothing easier than I/O in Ruby compared to other languages. Not a lot of things to import. The actual commands to open file is very simple. Reading files is very intuitive, so there's really just not all that much to learn. So with that, we've wrapped up this lesson on reading data from a file in Ruby, and we're ready to move on to the next lesson where we're going to learn how to write data to a file.